God's chosen ones, you passed. And it is time to tell you everything. Not because the journey is finished, but because a door has opened that only opens after endurance has been proven. Many were called to the path you have walked, but not all remained when the nights grew long and the answers grew quiet. You stayed, you questioned, you wept, you rose again, and you kept walking even when the ground beneath your feet felt unfamiliar. This moment is not about applause, it is about recognition. It is about understanding what has been forming within you while you thought you were merely surviving. From the beginning, there has been a refining process, one that separates surface belief from rooted faith, comfort from conviction, and noise from truth. Scripture reminds us that faith tested by fire emerges purified and purposeful. 1 Peter 1:7. What you endured was not random, it was preparation. You may have wondered why your path looked different, why shortcuts offered to others were never available to you, why your prayers seemed to echo before returning with silence. The answer is not that you were forgotten, it is that you were being shaped. There is a difference between being protected from storms and being trained to stand within them. Those chosen for weight-bearing callings are strengthened quietly, often painfully, because what lies ahead requires stability rather than speed. From early days, there was a stirring within you that refused to be satisfied with shallow answers. Even when you tried to blend in, something within you resisted compromise. This inner tension was not rebellion, it was alignment. The writings speak of a people set apart, not to be elevated above others, but to serve as vessels of endurance and light. Romans 8:28-30. There were seasons when obedience felt costly and unseen. You gave without recognition, forgave without apology received, remained faithful without immediate reward. These were not wasted acts, they were seeds pressed deep into the soil, where roots grow before branches appear. The kingdom pattern has always favored hidden beginnings. A seed must first be buried before it can rise. So too many of your greatest moments of growth happened in isolation, where applause could not distract and criticism could not define you. In those quiet places, character was built, wisdom was formed, discernment was sharpened. Scripture affirms that wisdom cries out not in chaos, but in attentive hearts willing to listen. Proverbs 2:1-6. You passed because you did not abandon hope when outcomes delayed. You passed because bitterness knocked and you chose release. You passed because pride offered you control and you chose surrender. Each choice aligned you more closely with a purpose larger than personal comfort. This path has never been about perfection, it has been about posture. A yielded heart is more powerful than flawless performance. Time and again, the writings reveal that those entrusted with great responsibility were not the most polished, but the most willing. 1 Samuel 16:7. What mattered was not outward strength, but inward availability. There is something else you must understand now. The opposition you faced was not always external. Some of your hardest battles were internal wars of doubt, fear, and self-questioning. You learned that the most dangerous voice is not always the loudest one outside, but the quiet one within that asks whether you are enough. Passing this season means you learn to answer that voice not with arrogance, but with truth. You learned that worth is not measured by achievement, but by calling. Identity precedes assignment. This is why the writings emphasize renewal of the mind as essential to transformation. Romans 12:2. Without that renewal, even the chosen can live beneath their inheritance. As you move forward, clarity will increase, but so will responsibility. Passing does not mean rest, it means readiness. There will be moments when others look to you for stability, even when you feel the same human frailty you always have. Do not be surprised by this. Strength in this calling does not come from self-sufficiency, but from dependence rooted in trust. You have learned how to lean without collapsing, how to stand without hardening. These lessons were earned through pressure. The writings speak of a peace that surpasses understanding, not because circumstances are easy, but because trust is deep. Philippians 4:4. Notice. You may also note in that this is not a burden meant to overwhelm you. It is an invitation to intercede, to act, to love with discernment. Compassion without wisdom burns out, but compassion guided by truth transforms. You are being trained to see beyond appearances, to recognize both the wound and the remedy. This is why humility remains essential. Knowledge without humility becomes noise. Love without truth becomes weak. The balance you are learning is ancient and necessary, reflected throughout the writings. Micah 6:8. Do not be surprised if familiar spaces begin to feel too small. Growth often creates holy discomfort. This does not mean you abandon community, it means you carry what you have learned into new expressions of service. Some relationships will shift, not because love is lost, but because seasons change. Even this is addressed in Scripture, where there is a time for planting and a time for uprooting, a time for silence and a time for speaking. Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. Discern the time. Rushing ahead creates confusion. Staying too long creates stagnation. There is also a warning that must be spoken in love. Passing a test can tempt one to look back with superiority. Resist this. The measure of true maturity is not how far you have come, but how gently you walk with those still struggling. Remember your own nights of confusion. Remember how patience extended to you became a lifeline. You are not chosen to stand above, but to stand with. Servanthood remains the language of this faith, even when authority is entrusted. The writings consistently overturn human ideas of greatness, placing service at the center. Mark 10:43-45. As understanding increases, so will accountability. You will recognize when silence is no longer obedience, and when action is required even at personal cost. Courage will be tested again, though in different forms. The earlier tests focused on endurance. The coming ones may focus on obedience in clarity. It is one thing to obey without understanding, another to obey when understanding is complete. Both require trust. This is why the path continues to emphasize listening over rushing, prayer over impulse, and faithfulness over visibility. Psalm 37:5. You passed because you learned to wait without wasting the wait. You allowed the waiting to teach you restraint, depth, and reverence. Many want the promise without the process, the fruit without the root. You accepted the slow work. That acceptance has marked you. Now, when opportunities arise, you will recognize which ones align and which ones distract. Discernment is one of the quiet rewards of faithfulness. It is not dramatic, but it is powerful. The writings describe it as a peace-led knowing that guards the heart and mind, Colossians 3:15. As everything begins to unfold, remember this: the source of strength has not changed. The same presence that sustained you in silence will sustain you in visibility. Do not exchange dependence for confidence in self. Do not allow success to dull gratitude. The journey ahead will still require daily surrender, daily listening, daily choosing. This is not regression, it is rhythm. Faith has always been lived one step at a time. The writings never promise ease, but they promise presence and purpose. Joshua 1:9. There is more to tell you, more that will make sense only as you walk it out. For now, hold this truth close. You were never being delayed, you were being prepared. Every closed door redirected you toward alignment. Every unanswered prayer refined your trust. Every loss stripped away what could not travel with you. Passing this season means you are ready to carry weight without being crushed by it, truth without weaponizing it, and responsibility without losing tenderness. And as the next chapter begins to open, you will find that what once felt hidden is beginning to surface. What once felt silent is beginning to speak, and what once felt distant is now drawing nearer, inviting you to step forward not with fear, but with a steady heart that knows the voice it has learned to recognize, even when that voice speaks softly, even when it asks you to move again, even when the path ahead unfolds not all at once, but step by step, inviting you to trust the next instruction before the full picture is revealed, reminding you that the same faith that carried you through the testing will carry you through the unfolding, and that what comes next will require the same attentiveness, the same humility, the same willingness to listen, especially as new doors begin to open, and you begin to realize that this passing was not an ending at all, but the quiet threshold of something that is only now beginning to take shape, something that will ask more of you, shape more within you, and call you to remain rooted as you move forward into what has been prepared, even as the details continue to unfold and the journey continues without pause, drawing you further into purpose as you take the next step and then the next, learning once again to walk by faith and not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. As you continue, understand that the unfolding ahead will not always announce itself with clarity or certainty. Often it will arrive disguised as ordinary obedience, as small instructions that seem almost insignificant compared to the magnitude of what you sensed was promised. Do not underestimate the power of consistency in these moments. Faithfulness in what appears small has always been the gateway to greater trust. The writings remind us that those who are faithful with little are entrusted with much, Luke 16:10. This is not a principle meant to pressure you, but to steady you, to remind you that every step carries meaning when taken in alignment. There will be times when you are tempted to revisit old versions of yourself, not because they were better, but because they were familiar. Growth often feels lonely before it feels fulfilling. Resist the pull of nostalgia that romanticizes past seasons while forgetting the prayers you cried to leave them. You are not the same person who entered those valleys, and you cannot live by the measures that once defined you. Renewal changes your capacity, your tolerance, your desires. The writings speak of new wine requiring new vessels, not because the old were worthless, but because they could not contain what was coming, Mark 2:22. Allow yourself to become new without guilt. You may notice that your discernment sharpens not only toward opportunities, but toward people. This does not mean withdrawing in suspicion, it means learning to love wisely. Boundaries are not a lack of love, they are a form of stewardship. You are learning to guard what has been entrusted to you, including your time, your energy, and your voice. Even the writings affirm the importance of guarding the heart, recognizing it as the wellspring from which life flows, Proverbs 4:23. What you allow close will influence how clearly you hear and how faithfully you respond. As responsibility increases, so will moments of misunderstanding. Not everyone will recognize the process that shaped you, and not everyone will celebrate the authority entrusted to you. This is not a signal to defend yourself aggressively or to retreat in silence. It is an invitation to walk with quiet confidence, allowing consistency to speak louder than explanation. The writings remind us that a gentle answer turns away wrath, and that wisdom is vindicated by its fruit. Proverbs 15:1, Matthew 11:19. Let time and integrity do the work of clarification. You will also encounter moments when obedience requires you to act without affirmation. There will be instructions that contradict popular wisdom, steps that feel counterintuitive, decisions that isolate before they unify. These moments are not designed to confuse you, but to anchor you more deeply in trust. Walking by faith has always meant moving before full visibility is granted. The writings consistently portray faith as substance hoped for and evidence unseen. Hebrews 11:1. This unseen evidence is what you have been learning to rely on, even when logic hesitates. Guard against the temptation to measure progress by comparison. The path you are walking cannot be evaluated by another's timeline. Comparison distorts gratitude and breeds unnecessary frustration. What is being built in you has a specific function, one that requires precision rather than speed. The writings speak of many parts forming one body, each with its own role and timing. 1 Corinthians 12:12-18. You are not behind, you are aligned. Trust alignment more than acceleration. There will be seasons when your faith is tested not by adversity, but by abundance. Success has a way of revealing what scarcity concealed. Remain attentive in these moments. Gratitude must remain active, humility intentional. The writings warn that forgetting the source during times of plenty leads to misalignment. Deuteronomy 8:10-14. Remember where you were formed. Remember the quiet lessons learned when nothing was visible. Let abundance become a tool for generosity rather than a trap for complacency. Your voice will begin to carry weight, sometimes in rooms you never expected to enter. When this happens, speak with clarity, but also with restraint. Words have the power to heal or to harm, to build or to fracture. You have been trained in silence so that speech would be measured, purposeful, and rooted in truth. The writings emphasize that life and death are held in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. Use that power with reverence. There will also be moments when you are asked to wait again, even after passing. This waiting will feel different. It will not be the waiting of uncertainty, but the waiting of alignment. Do not confuse movement with progress. Stillness is obedience. Sometimes restraint protects what haste would expose. The writings remind us that those who wait are renewed in strength, not diminished by it. Isaiah 40:31. Waiting does not mean nothing is happening, it means something is being preserved. As you continue forward, you will recognize patterns from the past, but they will no longer have the same hold on you. Triggers that once derailed you will now alert you without controlling you. This is growth. This is evidence that healing has taken root beyond surface behavior. The writings speak of being transformed from the inside out, bearing fruit in due season. Psalm 1:3. Fruit does not appear overnight, but once it does, it reveals the health of what lies beneath. Do not be alarmed when you are entrusted with the burdens of others. This does not mean you are meant to carry them alone. Intercession, counsel, and presence are different from ownership. You are learning to stand in the gap without losing yourself in the weight of what is not yours to fix. Even the writings remind us to carry one another's burdens while recognizing individual responsibility. Galatians 6:2-5. Balance is essential here. Compassion must be paired with wisdom. There will be moments when your faith is refined through disappointment, not because promises fail, but because expectations were incomplete. What you imagine may arrive in a different form than you anticipated. Remain open. Rigidity resists fulfillment when it does. And match the picture you created. The writings show repeatedly that deliverance often arrives in unexpected ways through unexpected people. Isaiah 55, 8-9. Flexibility rooted in trust allows you to receive what was actually prepared. As you grow, solitude will remain important, but isolation must be resisted. Community is not optional, it is protective. Even those called to lead are instructed to walk with counsel, accountability, and shared wisdom. The writings emphasize that plans succeed with many advisors. Proverbs 20:18. Choose voices that are aligned with truth, not merely affirming comfort. Growth requires honest mirrors. There will be moments when you are tempted to shrink back, not because you doubt the calling, but because you feel the weight of it. In these moments, remember that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. The writings remind us that strength is made perfect in weakness, not in self-assurance. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Dependence is not a flaw in this path, it is the fuel. You will also encounter resistance that feels spiritual rather than circumstantial. Do not respond with panic or aggression. Respond with steadiness. Stand firm in truth, grounded in what you know, not what you feel in the moment. The writings speak of standing firm after having done all, not striving endlessly but remaining anchored. Ephesians 6:13. Stability is a weapon you have been trained to wield. As time continues, you will begin to see connections between past pain and present purpose. What once felt meaningless will reveal its relevance. This is not romanticizing suffering, it is recognizing redemption. The writings consistently affirm that what was meant for harm can be repurposed for good. Genesis 5:20. This understanding will deepen your compassion and sharpen your discernment. Your journey will require continual recalibration. There is no arrival point where vigilance is no longer necessary. Faith is lived, not stored. Daily choices will continue to shape long-term impact. This rhythm of returning, listening, and adjusting will sustain you. The writings remind us to seek daily bread, not stockpiles of certainty. Matthew 6:11. Dependence remains daily, even as maturity grows. As you walk further, you may find that your prayers change. They become less about outcomes and more about alignment, less about control and more about clarity. This is not a loss of faith, it is a deepening of it. The writings show that as understanding grows, prayer becomes more intimate, more surrendered. Psalm 37:4. Desire aligns with purpose. There will be days when obedience feels mundane, when nothing dramatic marks your faithfulness. These days matter deeply. Consistency builds legacy. The writings honor those who endured not through spectacle, but through perseverance. Hebrews 12:1. Keep walking, keep listening, keep responding. You are not walking alone, even when the path feels solitary. Presence remains constant, guidance remains available, and wisdom remains accessible to those who ask. James 1:5. What you have learned so far has equipped you not just to survive what comes next, but to steward it well. The passing you experienced was not a final evaluation, but an initiation into deeper trust, deeper responsibility, and deeper awareness. And as the days continue to unfold, you will find that each step invites another, each instruction reveals another layer, and each act of obedience opens further understanding, drawing you onward as the journey continues, shaping you further as you move forward without rushing, without retreating, remaining attentive, remaining humble, remaining faithful as the path extends ahead and the work continues to unfold before you, one faithful step at a time. As you keep moving, you will discover that clarity often arrives after obedience, not before it. This challenges the instinct to demand certainty prior to action, but faith has never operated on full disclosure. Instead, it invites trust rooted in relationship rather than explanation. Many before you walked this same pattern, stepping forward with only enough light for the next step, not the entire journey illuminated at once. The writings remind us that a word is a lamp to the feet, not a floodlight to the horizon. Psalm 19:10-5. This teaches attentiveness. You are learning to stay present, to listen closely, to move deliberately. There will be seasons when the pace accelerates unexpectedly. Opportunities may arise quickly, responsibilities may multiply, and decisions may feel compressed into shorter windows. Do not panic in these moments. You have been trained for responsiveness, not reaction. There is a difference. Reaction is fueled by fear, responsiveness is guided by discernment. The stillness cultivated in earlier seasons now becomes your anchor. Even when momentum increases, that inner stillness remains available. The writings speak of being led by peace as a governing force. Colossians 3:15. Let that peace continue to referee your choices. You may notice that your tolerance for distraction diminishes. What once entertained you may now feel hollow. This is not loss, it is refinement. As focus sharpens, unnecessary noise fades. The writings often describe this as pruning, not to punish growth, but to increase fruitfulness. John 15:2. Trust the process. What is being removed is not what sustained you, but what limited you. Space is being made for depth. There will also be moments when you are called to speak truth that disrupts comfort, including your own. Truth spoken in love is not always received with gratitude, but it remains necessary. Do not confuse resistance with failure. Often, resistance is evidence that something real has been touched. The writings consistently show that truth divides before it heals, convicts before it comforts. Hebrews 4:12. Speak with humility, but do not dilute what you have been entrusted to carry. As your influence grows, be vigilant against subtle shifts in motivation. It is easy to begin serving outcomes rather than obedience, approval rather than alignment. Regular self-examination becomes essential. The writings encourage testing motives, not to condemn, but to recalibrate. Psalm 139:23-24. Return often to the quiet places where ambition is stripped and intention is clarified. There, purpose is realigned. You will encounter moments of apparent contradiction where promises seem delayed or circumstances appear to move backward. These moments test trust at a deeper level. Do not assume regression when you encounter resistance. Sometimes opposition intensifies precisely because progress is occurring. The writings remind us that perseverance must complete its work, producing maturity and completeness. James 1:2-4. Stay steady. Endurance remains active even after passing earlier tests. You may also experience grief for what you have outgrown. This grief is valid, Growth involves release, and release carries loss even when it leads to life. Allow yourself to mourn without returning. The writings show that even those who were called forward paused to grieve what was left behind. Genesis 5:10. Grief does not mean doubt. It means transition is real. Your understanding of strength will continue to evolve. Strength will no longer be measured by how much you can carry, but by how well you can release what is not yours. Discernment will teach you when to engage and when to step back, when to speak, and when silence carries more wisdom. The writings praise restraint as much as boldness, patience as much as action. Proverbs 16:32. This balance is part of your formation. There will be times when you feel the weight of expectation, both internal and external. Expectations can motivate, but they can also distort. Return to the source of your calling when expectations grow loud. Remember that you were not chosen for performance, but for faithfulness. The writings consistently affirm that what is required is stewardship, not spectacle. 1 Corinthians 4:2. Faithfulness frees you from the burden of proving. As your journey continues, you will see patterns repeat, but at deeper levels. Lessons once learned superficially will be revisited with greater nuance. This is not redundancy, it is depth. Truth unfolds in layers, and understanding matures with application. The writings describe this as moving from milk to solid food, from basic instruction to practiced discernment. Hebrews 5:12-14. Welcome the depth. You will also encounter joy that feels quieter but more sustaining. It may not always arrive with celebration, but with contentment, with a sense of alignment that anchors you even amid uncertainty. This joy is not dependent on circumstances, it flows from trust. The writings speak of a joy that remains even in trials because it is rooted beyond outcomes. Nehemiah 8:10. This joy becomes strength. There will be moments when you are asked to invest in others with no immediate return. Teach, mentor, serve, pour out. Do not measure these moments by visible impact alone. Seeds often grow unseen long before they emerge. The writings remind us that those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy, though not always immediately. Psalm 126:5. Trust the unseen work. You may also face temptation to settle, not into sin, but into comfort that limits calling. Settling can be subtle. It whispers that enough is sufficient, that growth can pause. Resist this gently but firmly. Calling is not about restlessness, but about responsiveness. Remain open. The writings encourage pressing on, not out of dissatisfaction, but out of pursuit. Philippians 3:12-14. Continue to pursue alignment. As discernment deepens, you will become more aware of timing. Some doors are right, but not yet. Wisdom teaches patience without passivity. Acting too soon can be as misaligned as acting too late. The writings emphasize seasons and appointed times, reminding us that everything unfolds according to purpose. Habakkuk 2:3. Wait when instructed. Move when prompted. You will notice that your prayers increasingly include gratitude, even before outcomes are known. Gratitude becomes an act of trust, a declaration that provision is not limited to what is visible. The writings often connect gratitude with peace, showing that thanksgiving guards the heart. Philippians 4:6. Let gratitude remain active, not reactive. There will be days when faith feels effortless and days when it feels deliberate. Both are normal. Do not judge your faith by emotional consistency. Faith is not sustained by feeling but by commitment. The writings consistently affirm that the righteous walk by faith, not by sight or sensation. Habakkuk 2:4. Commitment carries you when emotion fluctuates. You may also find that your sense of purpose becomes clearer but narrower. Focus replaces fragmentation. This is not limitation, it is refinement. Energy once scattered now converges. The writings describe this as running with endurance, fixing eyes forward. Hebrews 12:1-2. Focus sustains momentum. As you continue, humility will remain your safeguard. Knowledge will increase, insight will sharpen, but humility keeps you teachable. The writings warn that knowledge can inflate, but love builds. 1 Corinthians 8:1. Let love remain the measure of maturity. You will encounter moments when rest is required, not earned. Rest is not a reward for exhaustion, it is a discipline of trust. Rest declares that provision does not depend solely on effort. The writings model rest as obedience, not indulgence. Exodus 28:10. Honor rest when invited into it. There will also be times when courage requires confrontation, not conflict but clarity. Avoidance does not preserve peace, truth does. Speak with grace, but speak. The writings encourage speaking the truth in love so that growth may occur. Ephesians 4:15. Growth often follows honest conversation. As the path continues, you will recognize that faithfulness accumulates quietly. There may be no singular moment that defines success, but a series of consistent choices that shape legacy. The writings honor those who finished well, who endured to the end. 2 Timothy 4:7. Finishing well begins with daily faithfulness. You are becoming someone who can hold paradox, strength and gentleness, confidence and humility, clarity and mystery. This capacity is rare and necessary. The writings reflect this paradox throughout, revealing power perfected in weakness, leadership expressed through service. Matthew 20:26. Embrace the paradox. And as you move forward, remain attentive. Do not rush to label seasons or define outcomes prematurely. Stay present. Stay listening, stay responsive. What continues to unfold will require the same trust that carried you this far, the same willingness to learn, the same courage to obey without full explanation. The journey remains active, the calling continues to deepen, and the path stretches onward, inviting you to keep walking, keep listening, keep trusting as each step reveals just enough for the next, drawing you further into purpose, further into alignment, further into the unfolding work that continues to take shape as you move forward, steady and attentive, without stopping, without concluding, remaining in motion as the story continues. So now, as everything that has been spoken settles into your spirit, understand this. Clearly, what you have walked through was not accidental, and what lies ahead is not uncertain in purpose, even if it remains unseen in detail. You have been formed through patience, refined through waiting, strengthened through surrender, and aligned through obedience. The same faith that carried you through obscurity will carry you through responsibility. Do not fear the weight of what you are stepping into, because you were shaped to bear it. Remain rooted, remain teachable, remain faithful in the quiet and in the visible alike. Walk forward with reverence rather than haste, with courage rather than striving, knowing that the work unfolding through you is sustained not by your strength alone, but by continual trust. As it is written, he who began a good work will carry it on to completion, Philippians 1:6, and those who endure will renew their strength, Isaiah 4:31. Let your life now speak what your words cannot. Let your faith be seen through consistency, and let your journey continue as living testimony that obedience, patiently lived, never returns empty, but always fulfills what it was sent to accomplish.